only man that's got the same move with every club. I'm the only golfer with the feeling of greatness. I'm the only golfer living that's got the master move and the feeling of greatness.
Hey, welcome to the Feeling of Greatness podcast again. And I am super excited about tonight's show because I have a very special guest, but actually it's the most special guest I could have on the show for what we do. It's my brother, Tim Graves. Tim, thanks for joining me here. Just so the people listening to this can kind of figure it out, we are down here at our place in Orlando.
Yep.
We just spent a couple days prepping for our spring school programs coming in. We had some of the team members down. They were organizing the equipment, throwing away 10 years of stuff that we had in a trailer. As I was driving down there, I watched them drive away, and I'm watching all this stuff go. That stuff's like 10 years old.
It's older than that, yeah.
But it's super exciting. Just seeing where we've come, right? Seeing how far we've come from just you and I started this company
23 years ago now. 23 years.
And just so people understand that Tim and I had a little tiny 8-foot trailer with a car that would barely pull it.
Yep.
And we got invited to Santa Fe, New Mexico by a friend of ours who's a very good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. But at the time he was a good friend then, but he's really become a good friend now. But he said, hey, I got these 10 guys that would love to learn what you guys teach. Will you come out to New Mexico and teach us? You and I geared up with whatever we had.
Yep.
And drove out to Santa Fe, New Mexico and launched a company.
Yep.
And then we drove home and go, that wasn't too bad. That was kind of a good gig.
Yeah.
23 years later, we have a company that seems to grow and grow every year. I can't say we don't work hard at it. No one works harder than you at it. And we continue. How many people do we have now in our network or database, would you think?
Oh, we've in our database, the entire database, we got 1 million. But actively, hundreds of thousands. It's a large database now.
Yeah.
I couldn't have dreamed of it. When 23 years ago when we started this, you handed me a list of about 20 people, maybe 40 people, and had half of them had names, half had phone numbers, half had emails, and said, "Will this be good enough to start?"
Yeah. Well, just so, and I don't want to dominate this whole show because I could talk forever about you, but the business savvy you had when we started, I did not have. Well, you're laughing, but you're like, I know. But it was true. I may be just the creative type guy that's like, let's just wing it, Tim. Come on, what's so hard about this? And you were the guy saying, hey, we got to make this a business, and you were the one busting your butt to make that happen, and I would not be here today.
Well, it's because I had to have a security blanket.
Yeah.
Because you walked out of college and went and played.
Yeah.
And when you go play for a living walking out of college, you realize I may not make money for 3 months, but I'll still figure out a way to survive.
Yeah.
I walked out of college and had a job and had the family at home and had support.
Well, tell everybody about that, because I don't think they really know your backstory and your credentials. They know you as a golf professional and a teacher.
Yeah.
So, tell everybody.
Well, that was where we were different because when I graduated college, I graduated from Oklahoma State, and I walked out and I went and became a microbiologist for the state of Oklahoma for about 2 to 3 years. That was my degree, and had connections through Dad and had it through the state health department, so I could get into that job, and it was a very secure job. And then when I went and then did that for 3 years and went and got my master's. So I got my master's in biostatistics and epidemiology. So then I became the state epidemiologist or a state epidemiologist and did that for another 6 years. So I literally did infectious disease control for the state of Oklahoma for going on almost 7 years. And at that time had a wife, didn't have a baby or anything at home yet, but had a wife, had a house, had the whole jazz. So, I had a 9 to 5 job. I say that it was a 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. job, and, or 4 p.m. job, and would work, Monday through Fridays. But the thing that I did at that time, which was really a benefit to me, was that working as an epidemiologist, you do infectious disease control. So you have outbreak investigations. So there's days you might work a 20-hour day, literally. And then in Oklahoma or any state doesn't pay overtime. So they pay what's called comp time. And so what would happen is you might work 100-hour week, and then you could take off those 60 hours, you build them up in a bank. Well, it was the absolute perfect job to play summer golf.
Right.
Because outbreaks occur in the winter, in the fall of the winter.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They occur in the fall and the winter. So I'd work my butt off in the winter, and then when the spring and the summer would come around, I could play golf in tournaments. Yeah. And I became a very highly rated amateur golfer. I didn't play professional at that time. I was actually a top 25 amateur in the country. I mean, I actually got rated that high at one time. And so I'd go all over the country playing tournaments. I'd play in Oklahoma. You know that. I mean, I'd travel playing amateur events, even things like the U.S. Amateur. I mean, I played in the U.S. Amateur all 3 years Tiger won it. I mean, it was just boom, boom, boom. Okay. And so I did that, and I literally got to the point where I'd get up at 6 a.m. I'd go to the golf course, and I'd practice putting for an hour and a half before I go to work.
That's why you're such a good putter.
And so I'd practice from 6:30 in the morning until about 7:30 or 8, and I'd go to work.
Well, no wonder I'm such a bad putter.
And then I had a great boss named Joe Maloney, and Joe was an athlete. And I love Joe and still love Joe today. And Joe believed that our job was so stressful that he required us to leave the office for an hour at lunch or an hour and a half.
Wow.
He didn't want us there because we were talking to doctors all day and nurses, and these guys are panicked, with outbreaks. So I'd bug out of the office at 11:30, and I'd go to the golf course, and I'd chip for an hour and a half because I didn't want to go sweat. So I'd be in a shirt and tie, I'd tuck in the tie, and I'd go chip for an hour and a half. So I'd have putted and chipped for 3 hours already before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to sweat. Yeah. And then 1:30 would hit, or 1 o'clock, I'd go back to the office, work till 4:30.
Back to the course.
5 o'clock is the golf course pounding balls.
Yeah.
And when my wife wanted to see me is when she came out and sat in the range with me.
Jerry Lynn's here. Hey, Jerry Lynn, come on over here and let's talk about this.
So that's what I did every day. And then, but I'd earn all this comp time. So I'd take that and I'd spend it in the summers or, the late spring summers going to tournaments. And I literally could go away for 3 weeks and still get paid. Yeah. And I did that for 10 years. And I got very highly ranked amateur. Well, then what ended up happening was towards the end, the only people that were beating me in tournaments were the people that were playing full time. The Tiger Woods, the Tim Harrises, I can name names upon names. But I realized, okay, I'm at a level that if I keep my job or I keep working, I've topped it out. I literally had to play full time to beat these guys because these guys were either independently wealthy or they're college players, whatever. And so they were playing for full time, and I couldn't do that. Yeah. And that's when I talked to you and I talked to some of my buddies that are out there, and they said, okay, this is the time. If you're going to make a change, you're going to make a change now.
Well, there's a window.
Yeah, there's a window.
There's a window.
Right. So I always say I was a late bloomer because I wasn't 25 years old going out there on tour. I was 30, 32.
Very hard.
Yeah. And so I went out, and then at that time, you had played in Asia. You played overseas. You played in Canada. And I went out. So that was in 96. Because the 8 years I played in the U.S. Amateur, 94, 95, 96. I played in the U.S. Mid Amateur, 95, 96. Anyway, so in 96, I decided, okay, now's the time. We're going to go. And I went and raised money. I raised some capital myself.
Which is impossible.
Yeah, it's like beyond impossible. Yeah.
Back when we were doing this, it was if you didn't come out with a college credential as one of the highest ranked players, you're fighting for money and you're playing week to week and you have a family back at home. You're trying to pay for.
And the hardest single thing at that time was the fact that unless you have status somewhere, which is impossible to get status unless you build it up, it costs you more on the road in a week than you'd ever make.
Oh yeah, and
you know that because me and you started traveling together. So I went out in 96 and I qualified for the Hooters Tour, which was the third largest tour. It was the PGA, the Nike, then the Hooters.
Right.
And I qualified for the Hooters Tour. I actually got A group and I did really well and got in. But I was playing, when I went and qualify for the Hooters was nothing because I just played in U.S. Amateurs. I played in USGA Advanced. I was playing these all the time.
Yeah.
So going to qualifying for something like that was a no-brainer. And I wasn't qualified for that. And I started playing Hooters Tour full time. So now I'm in Florida in January, February, March with you, and life changes dramatically. Because I'd done basically a 9-to-5 job when I'm sitting at home, and now I'm on the road for 3 weeks at a time, 4 weeks at a time.
Well, and I can tell you this because we travel together a lot, and you hated traveling.
Hated it.
I mean, so and it's so hard, and it's mostly because you had a family,
right?
And I didn't have a family at the time, so it was easy for me to sit on the road and go, I'll spend an extra day out here.
Right.
We played a tournament. And this is one of my favorite stories.
I know where you're going. This is the classic of all.
You hated this golf course.
Oh, my God. Well, it was called Point Mallard, and me and Chad Campbell nicknamed it Point Duck Shit.
Duck Shit, yeah.
We hated it.
Yeah.
Hated this course, yeah.
Yeah, and,
So anybody out there with Point Mallard, sorry.
So I don't remember our exact scores, but I remember that
I'll tell you what they were.
Okay.
The first round I shot 71, you shot 75.
Yeah.
Okay. And the cut was going to be, 71 was 1 under, 75 was 3 over. Okay.
Yeah.
And the cut we figured out was going to be about even.
Yeah.
Okay. About even or 1 over. Chad. And so I'm playing with Chad both rounds. And the second round, I shoot like 4 or 5 over in the front, and I'm done with this golf course. It was a third week out.
Yeah, you're done.
I want to be there. No. Hooters tour would go out 3 weeks, get off 2, go out 3 weeks, get off 2. Okay. And so by the end of the third week, I mean, you'd been out there for 21 days from home.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done. Okay. So I play that second round and I'm like 3 or 4 over. I'm thinking 4 over for the front.
You got the car running in the parking lot.
Oh yeah. I've already turned it on. I'm playing that back nine as fast as I can get done it with Chad. I'm running in. I don't want to be at this golf course.
Yeah.
I hate it. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I get it going.
Yeah. You get it going.
So I start playing pretty well, and I like the golf course. And so I'm coming in, and I get it a couple under par, and I'm on the 18th fairway, and I hit it right down the middle. And I look back behind the green, and I see they have bleachers.
big stands.
They have grandstands.
Yeah.
And there's people all over the place, and I don't remember who I was playing with. I don't remember. And I see Tim.
I can still see this today.
Tim is right behind the flag. Like he's literally
Front row,
on
first
my
seat.
vision, front row. And he's just saying he just can't wait for me to.
No, the car's running. The
car is
running.
running. Tim can't wait for me to hole out and grab my bag and go, we're out of here.
Yep, because I'm literally sitting there right now. I'm like 4 over par. I missed a cut by 3, and I want to be 100 miles down the road already. Yeah. And I'd played the morning round, and you're playing the afternoon round, and so it's already pissing me off that you're out there 4 hours longer than I should be 4 hours down the road.
Yeah, you've been waiting for me.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you.
So I hit it, and I'm on my number. Like I'm at 150. I am on my number for my 8-iron, and I'm like, that's just right on my number. And I tell my caddy, I'm like, I'm just going to hit it right the flag. I hit right the flag, and it just takes one bounce and goes straight in the hole for a 2.
Yep.
And I see the grandstands just
crazy.
erupt, and you were just, your head is down.
Dropped my head straight down. Never stood up, just dropped my head straight down. You know what I said? I went, oh shit.
And the guys from the guys that I was playing with come over and high five me, you know, so I just hold it out, and you're like,
because I knew that was the shot.
And I walked out, pulled the ball of the hole, everybody's cheering, pulled the ball of the hole, and you're like, and you go, you're on your own, and you took off.
Yep, I left because we had driven together. And you had 2 more rounds, and I knew that. And you made the cut by 1.
I made
the cut.
I barely made the cut.
I knew when that went in the hole that made the cut because I wanted to go. And I looked at you. You pulled the ball of the hole. You came over. How about that? I said, I'm gone. I said, find a way home,
bro.
So we're 18 hours from home. I said, good luck.
Yeah. I like that golf course.
I hated it. It was so bad. Well, I'll give you the other story. This is classic, and I have talked to Chad since this, and I was playing Chad again. And I'm playing over here at Augusta, not Augusta National, obviously. I'm playing at Augusta, Georgia, at Augusta Country Club. And it was the third week out. And the first round I played, I shot 1 or 2 over again. You know, it was always like every time you shoot 1 over, you'd be 7 back from Chad.
6 or 7 back.
7 back every time.
Yeah.
Okay. And I go the second round, and all I'm thinking about is getting off that golf course and going home. I mean, because I can get home fast. And I would drive straight home. I'd get off the golf course like 4 o'clock, and I'd drive like 15 hours home to get home by the next morning.
Yeah.
So I could literally have a week or 2 at home. And I wanted to get home so bad. So I play the first 5 holes even. I get in, and I mean, I'm missing this cut by 2 or 3. Okay. And on number 6, I make birdie. Number 7, I make birdie. Number 8, I make eagle. Number 9, a hole for a 1. I go 6 under for those 4 holes.
Oh, nice.
And as I walk across 9T, I look up and my name's on the leaderboard is in the top 10.
Nice.
So I go from cut line to making the top 10. I bogeyed 8 of the last 9 holes and went home.
Yeah.
I self-sabotaged.
You were set.
I did not want to be there. And I literally just like bogey.
Well, so it's interesting because, and that's why I love these podcasts, because I love just having conversations because it comes off on these things. When I was, I was playing on, and you know, when I was I had a good stretch in there, kind of the last year that I was playing. I think I was leading. I played 6 events, and I almost led I had a chance to win with 9 holes left, almost every event. And I was at the Colorado Open, but it wasn't the first year I played. But it might have been. I don't know. My memory is fuzzy, but I played really well. Had the lead going into. I had 4 holes left. I had the lead, and I screwed it all up and finished 11th. So that happened that year. The next year I go back and I finished like 15th. So I always played well at this course. I love the golf course. It was a great venue, a great event. Well, the third year I go back, I remember being on this par. I was playing okay, but it was kind of like that. I was kind of like not playing good, but I just wanted to get home. We didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. I remember hitting this 9-iron from the fairway, and the ball's in midair, and I say my brain just goes, I do not want to effing be here.
Yeah, I know.
And I was just done. I was just tired of being there. I was tired of being on the road. I was tired of wanting the shots to be good. There was such a big deal about the motivation to play. Right. And once you lose it, like I lost it when I was 34 years old. I lost the motivation to be out there. Yep. But when I was 24 on the Asian tour, I couldn't wait to tee it up. I couldn't wait to go all the way overseas and play.
You hear this on TV all the time. You hear the commentators that say the guy will find that one shot in the round, and he's like, he's found the slot, and all of a sudden he's like, he's going to play great, but he's been playing bad up to that point, or struggled at the point that he'll find that one shot. Well, tell you what, you're out there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and you haven't found that shot, you haven't found that feeling. It gets so frustrating, it gets so tiring, and it gets so demotivational. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, and you're sitting, you keep looking for it, and finally you're just like, okay, I just want to get off this thing for a while. I mean, I want to go, and that's why you watch these guys like Rory, and they'll get away for 3 or 4 weeks, and they won't even smell golf. They are gone.
But let me ask you. So, and this is interesting because you still play quite a bit. You go, you're down in Florida last week. Right. You were down here last week, down in Point St. Lisa playing. What motivates you?
Honestly, the reason I play right now is because that's the only way I'll practice. Because I enjoy the playing part. I don't really enjoy the practicing part. I'm not sure anybody enjoys the practicing part a lot, but for me to practice, I've got to be able to have something come to play.
You need that carrot out there.
Yeah. And when I'm playing in now, the level of golf is not what I did 5, 10, 20 years ago. It's PGA section events. I mean, I play my local PGA section events, and there's 10 or 15 guys that are quality players. I mean, I'm not knocking those guys, but these guys are workers. These guys work 60 hours a week. Well,
see, I think that's interesting because people hear PGA Pro and they think everybody's a great player. There's only a handful in our section that can really play.
But those guys are really good. I mean, these guys win a national event.
At some point, they were probably like you. They played tour golf.
I'm out there playing in this one down at Port St. Lucie last week, and I'm playing the last round with a guy who shot like, I think, 78 or 79 the second round. All of a sudden, he's telling me, he's 57 years old, and he was a Michigan State All-American. He had played on the Asian Tour for 4 years. His best friend is Todd Hamilton and Steve Stricker. He's telling me all these, and I'm like, oh my God. And I said, what do you do now? And he goes, well, I work at Carlsbad Golf. And he goes, I just give lessons and fit clubs about 20 hours a week. And I'm like, these guys that come see him have no clue. I mean, where this guy's been. I mean, this guy spent almost 5 years on the Asian Tour. I mean, it's like, and was
because you don't get the badges. Nope. I mean, there's no badges for second place.
But it's so funny talking to him because we had a great conversation. We're riding the car together for 4 hours. We had a great conversation. He goes, it's funny. He goes, I'd go out there, and he goes, I was a good player. He goes, I was All-American from Michigan State. He goes, I'd play in tournaments and finish top 2 or top 3, and like in Big Ten tournaments. He goes, I'd go out there and play national events and finish top 10. He goes, I went on a tour, and he goes, I faced Steve Stricker and Brant Jobe. And he goes, about a dozen guys like that. And he goes, I realized I just wasn't that good. He goes, it was just crazy.
But here's the thing. So one of the things that I always thought about when I played competitive golf, and I think you can take this people can take this for what it's worth as far as the way I thought about it. And I remember Dad used to always accuse me of not being competitive enough.
And he accused me of being too competitive.
Right. Well, you have to have brothers. Yeah. But I love the growth experience I got from it. So when I'd go play, if I learned something, it was a win for me. And so I'm not saying playing bad, there was always a win. There's sometimes I play bad and I was like, that just sucked.
Right.
But if I could walk away like Tim, in that one event, I'm leading going to the last round. And I think I snap hook it twice coming in. Right. And I lost basically on the 17th hole. Right. And I still felt pretty good about it. I mean, I didn't want to lose, but it was like, that taught me, you got to fix something in your game to stop hooking it. So I took it as a learning experience, and everybody's like, you can't finish a tournament. And it's interesting because I just wanted to learn something, but when that stopped, when I was like, I'm just not getting much out of this anymore. I didn't have to win golf tournaments to get some out of it.
Right.
I just said, I just don't feel like doing it anymore. People ask me all the time, why don't you go play tournaments now? I'm like, I get so much out of what I'm doing with teaching in the company and with what we do in the company. I don't need it. Like I don't need to, but to be honest with you, I would want stuff out there too. If I was going to play more competitively and if I was going to go practice like I would need to, I need something out there to practice for.
Here's a question I have for you. Cause you've been there. If you went up and played with your friends, so me and you just went out and played right now. Let's say me and you teed up at a national or we went and just played. Okay. We just went for fun. So I teed it up and had fun. And then you teed it up in a tournament tomorrow. It was a tournament that meant something to you. It wasn't some little rinky-dink thing. It was something that meant to you. Maybe it was a qualifier for something, or maybe it was whatever. How much harder, shot-wise, is that tournament than that fun round?
Oh, I'd shoot 80.
Okay, yeah, but
I shoot 85.
So 10 shots, 15 shots harder?
It would be easily 8 shots harder.
Yeah, because
if I'm lucky.
Because here's the deal. This is what people don't realize, that don't understand, that don't play tournaments like this or don't play in real tournaments, is how much harder it is out there, because it is fascinating. I'll talk to guys in emails or on the phone or even in class, and they'll sit there and say, how'd you not break 75 out there? And I said, I look at them like, if you want to play this event, you want to break 100.
Well, hang on. I got to tell a quick story. So this is you. You gave me in 2007. I had not teed it up in a competitive event for 6 years.
Right.
And you said, Todd, listen, because we used to play the Oklahoma Open, which was a fantastic kind of a second tier pro tour.
It was a 1A event, yeah.
It was, because you had, Gil Morgan,
Willie Wood, Scott
Bob
Burke,
Tway,
all of them, yep.
all the guys would come back and play in it. Andy Dillard, all these guys would play. So the level of Todd Hamilton, I played with Todd.
Oh, it was it was great, unbelievable.
So we'd play this event, and you said, Todd, the tournament had shut down for a number of years because Bill Barrett had passed away, and he ran the tournament. And he said, just play. And I was like, Tim, I haven't teed it up in 6 years. He goes, who cares? Just come help fill the field. They'd love to have you out there. I said, great. So I got there and I shoot 87. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to preface this by saying that I was really proud that I really never shot in the 80s in competition. I shot a lot of 79s, but I was like, I never really shot in the 80s. Right. And I shoot 87. And Lance, or somebody comes up to me and goes, how do you shoot 87? I putted pretty good. But it is the I don't know, the feelings of being out there, the meaning behind the shots, the fear that can set in because you're like, oh my God.
Yep.
And the stuff you don't see when I'm goofing around with you on the course, all that stuff. And, now we and I play partner golf. I got you as a backup plan. I'm good.
Same thing. Yep.
So, but man, when you're up there and but the second round I shot like a couple over. Right. I played better the second round because you start getting back in the rhythm of it. And I don't think people understand. And I always tell people, if you're going to play competitive golf, don't wait to play competitive golf. Right. Go shoot your 80s, go shoot your 90s, get it out of the way. Get that under your belt. Don't worry about your scores right now. Reed Howard, good friend of mine, right? Reed, I believe, has a lot of talent and is very talented, but he wouldn't put the numbers in. In. You got to play all the time, right?
Well, it's a perfect example of that is when I was an amateur golfer, I'd get, if I'd won the state amateur or if I won or the match play or the stroke play, you get an exemption to Oklahoma Open. It was that big. If not, you had to try to qualify. It was very hard. For 6 years in a row, I got exemptions because I won something in the state amateur. I won the state match play, strike, stroke, whatever. So I got exemptions. I remember that time because you were having to qualify as a pro, or get a pro-am group to come in. And so I got exemptions. That was a huge deal because they only let 2 amateurs in the field. And anyway, okay. And every one of those years, that tournament was like the biggest tournament of my life. I'd go out there other than the U.S. Amateur. And
loved it.
And I'd go out there and try to make the cut in the Oklahoma Open because it was just like,
I loved it.
So you looked at this thing like, oh my God.
What was your best finish, second?
I finished second 4 times.
Really?
But that's when I started playing the Hooters Tour. Because I'd go play the Hooters Tour and I'd play 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And I'd come to Oklahoma Open. It was like not a big deal. It was like, because I was playing so much golf. It was the exact same tournament, the exact same field. And all of a sudden I walk in and go, this tournament doesn't even matter anymore. It's like, it's just another event. And so all of a sudden I go from trying to make the cut to finishing second 4 times. Yeah. Because literally in 1 year I finished second. I was leading when they rained the last round out. Yeah. So I was leading going in with like 6 holes of playing that rained it out, or I probably would have won it. But the point is that whole deal just changed dramatically because they're putting the numbers in. When you're playing in 25 to 30 events a year, they become unimportant. And all of a sudden, you're just going out there and playing.
The other thing I found for me is I always played better on hard golf courses.
100%.
Because it kind of weeded out the guys who kind of hit spray it everywhere.
Big time.
I played terrible on desert golf courses where you could hit it in the rocks, chip it out, and still make a birdie.
Yeah.
I always kind of pick. I can see why guys pick and choose their venues a lot.
And you know me, my whole thing was if it's blowing 40 and it's got cold or some adverse conditions, half the field gets wiped out. Yeah, I'll never forget going and playing Red Mike up in North Dakota. They just opened up the golf course. We're playing the Dakota Tour. I think you had taken that week off or a couple weeks off, and I'm going out to Red Mike, which is in the middle of nowhere. It's next to Montana.
I never played that event.
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a 2-round event. And I go out and play the first round, and there's 60 guys or 70 guys in the field, and it's Dakota Tour. Tom Lehman's in the field. There's some phenomenal players. Stricker's in the field. There's phenomenal players out there. And they made this a big deal because it was the grand opening of the course. And it was the number 1 ranked hardest golf course in North Dakota at the time.
And it was windy.
The first day was calm. And we go out there, and if you miss the fairway, it's in the weeds. Yeah. It's like lost ball. It's dead. And I go through the first night, shoot 75. And I think Stricker shot like 60 or 69. Lehman shot lower than that. So I'm like in the middle of the field. And the next day, a front comes through, and it is blowing 40. And you're having to start the ball over the weeds and bring it back into the fairway. It's the scariest thing ever. And I walk up there, and I tee it up, and I'm in the middle of the pack, and I go off. It is howling. And I get done the round. And it's in the shotgun start, so we all go at the same time. And I get done the round, and I come in, and they're posting the scores. And Stricker shoots 80, Lehman shoots 81. Okay, and they put my score up there, and they wrote a 2 on the right side, and on the left side they put the circle for the bottom of an 8. And they write a dash for 6, so it's a 62. And the second they do 62, Lehman goes, bullshit. Just like that, as loud as you can imagine, okay? He just goes, bullshit, okay? I shot 62. And the par was 71. I shot 9 under par, set a course record, and was blowing 40 out. And I won the event by 5.
I believe it 100%.
And I'm literally praying for this wind, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. And I mean, it was one of the few Dakota Tour events I won.
Well, you're known for that.
Yeah, but it was just, I mean, and it was the most scary golf course on the earth. You're starting over top of rivers, trying to bring it back into the fairway this wind. And I'm just keeping it head high. But I'll never forget that 62 and Lehman's like, bullshit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is hard to believe,
Yeah.
but because when it's wind like that, if you can't control the ball, I mean, you know, and we watch it so much.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we see it so much. These guys, I mean, we play in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, you get. I mean, I don't know if you get a calm day. You know?
Zero.
The other day it was calm, and I was like, I'm going to go to Florida where it's windy. I mean, it was just too calm.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's funny when you watch Oklahoma players play and you watch them go out there and you can just, you watch, it's funny because you sit there and watch Victor Hovland, who we watch every day when he's at home, and you watch these guys play, and all of a sudden you watch him play down in the Bahamas, it's blowing 30, and Javi's just tearing the field apart.
Yeah.
And because they know how to play in the wind.
Yeah, because it's normal.
Well, Javi played 4 years at Oklahoma State, and then he's at a national. He's just in at Oklahoma State. If it's calm out, you practice. If it's howling out, you play.
You play. Yeah.
You don't play on nice days.
Well, I remember. So I played at the University of Oklahoma, and I coached there as well. And we, another thing people don't really understand is qualifiers. Like Coach would say, I mean, if it was nice outside, Coach, we're not qualifying today. Right. And if it was bad, he'd go, not only are you going to qualify, you're going to take your driver out of your bag and see what you can do, you know? I mean, he'd just make it as hard as he can on you because, I mean, it was just like, I remember one time, Tim, we played at Quail Creek, and I played with Matthew Lane playing a qualifier. It was barely warm enough to play because the greens, I thought they were frozen, but the coach says you're playing anyway, and they let us on the course. And he puts 2 cart gloves on, the ones that don't even have fingers in it.
Right.
And I'm like, we're just all just trying to stay warm and stay alive. And Matthew shoots like 1 under,
right,
with cart gloves on.
Right.
I mean, that was magical. I shot like 80. You know?
I'll tell you a classic story. This is a classic qualifying story. I had a friend tell me this actually from Oklahoma State, and he's out there trying to qualify for Oklahoma State. Well, Tim Fleming, okay, and Fleming's trying to qualify, and Willie Wood's playing the team at the same time. And Fleming's going, and he's playing at a lakeside golf course, and number 11 fairway runs by number 18 fairway, okay, and Flem's out there qualifying. He said the weather's awful, and he walks down 11, and Willie Wood's walking up 18, and Flem yells over to Willie and goes, "How you playing today?" And Willie goes, "I'm 9." And Flem goes, "No kidding, I'm 4." Flem finishes round. He comes to find out that Willie Wood's 9 under. And he was 4 over, okay? And then Holder had a deal where if you hit every fairway in regulation, you hit every fairway, you could take 2 shots off your card. If you hit every green, you could take 2 shots off your card. So Fleming walks in, and Willie Wood's posted 57. And he ends up shooting 2 over, and he goes, "I'm like 18 back." 18. Wow. That's the crap you deal with when you play with these. And that's a classic story. He goes, "So I think I'm going to beat this guy by 4." And he shoots 57.
That's a pretty good story.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's the reality checks you get though when you go there with those guys. And now we see them every day. We're at National. We see these guys every day, and I love watching these guys.
Well, I was in Hawaii with Matt Wagner. We were on just a vacation, and every morning 8:00 we'd teed up. We'd go play, and we were in Kona, and in this beautiful resort, no one's on the course, and we play, and then we'd all the girls. We get back, and all the girls would go to the pool and do their thing, and there was nobody on the range, and I was just hit balls. I was just sat there and hit balls, and it was kind of my little getaway. So we go play, and I'd go hit balls in the afternoon, and I come in, and the guys I'm with are a bunch of really well business owners, very high profile guys. They're like, "Todd, you love this game." I'm like, "I do when it's like this.
Right.
I mean, I do when I can play at 8 a.m. and the range is beautiful, and I'm in Hawaii." I said, "I do love the game." Right. And so I come back, and they've all pulled in a bunch of money, and they're like, "We want you to go tee it up."
Right.
They say, "You're not getting any younger." And I'm like, "Hell no." I'm like, "Not just no." And like, "Why not? Give it a shot." I'm like, I go, "Number one, I got a business already. But number 2, I do not want the grind." I mean, it would make me hate the game again. I mean, I love the game for what it is right now for me. And I go out and play with you. I love it. I go out and I work at it at the level that I like to work at it. I love tinkering on stuff. I love all that. I love to demonstrate. I mean, I like that part of the game. That's great. I love that other people love the game. But if I kept thinking to myself, I have nightmares about it, that I actually have to make a putt for money. Like I'm like, oh my God, why am I here? Here's my nightmare. Todd, you have to play golf for a living. Why am I here?
Well,
can somebody please reincarnate me?
Last week, I'm playing down there, and it was really, I got not a big event, but I got a fun event next week. It's a junior-senior tournament deal. I played in it for 100 years, and now I'm the senior, and I play the junior. I used to be the junior part. But I went down and played in the courses to get some practice runs in and play in this little bit tournament. And the first day we go out and we play in the Wanamaker down at the PGA Village course, and it's 70 degrees out. I'm teeing off in the afternoon. It's blowing probably 10, and I'm like, awesome. Okay. The next day, I tee up on Ryder at 8:20 in the morning. I go to the tee. It's 39 degrees out.
Yeah.
And it's blowing 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Florida 39 is like Oklahoma 19. It's the coldest freaking 39 in the face here. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm teeing up on number 10. It's 182-yard par 3 straight uphill.
3
I
wood.
rip a 3 hybrid, and I'm 20 yards short of the green. Yeah. And I look at the guy with me, who's my same age, is 57. He goes, I'm seriously considering driver, and I don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
And it's 182 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm looking at it, and I look at him, and I go, why the hell are we out here? And he goes, that's the greatest question I've ever heard. Because just to the right of the tee box is a condo. And he goes, my condo's right there. Yeah. He goes, it is 70 degrees in there, and we can go in there and just sit and call it. And I'm like, I swear to God, we must have just walked over to the condo and called it.
Order pizza and
I had 5 layers of clothes on, and I was freezing.
And you're like, why am I here?
Why am I here? Why am I here? I'm like, there is a million places I could have been better than that.
Yeah. Now, let's preface this. If I had status and I was playing well, and I could go to Hawaii and take Tracy with me, and I could tee it up in the tournament and go play for $1 million,
100%.
And it didn't matter because I didn't have all the business stuff going on, I'd do it.
100%.
But it comes down to the grind. I just don't want to. I don't want to have to worry about making putts and chipping and.
But what's interesting for me is I still play my events, and I play in the 1 day, 2 day, 3 day events, and there's section events or PGA events. And like I said, there's a dozen to 2 dozen good players in there, and they're really good guys, my friends, my buddies. And I'll go to some national stuff, and I do it because I want to I enjoy the adrenaline kick. I enjoy the nerves. I enjoy the challenge.
Okay. So you and I play competitive golf together. When we have a chance. Now we played a lot during COVID, and so I like watching you play in those circumstances because I think that you get. So I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, you're the most indifferent golfer that I play with that gets pissed off once in a while, but pissed off in a positive way, like pissed off in a grind way.
Right.
It's like we'll be playing along. And you and I just play and we just go, whatever happens, happens. And then all of a sudden we'll get to find out that we're tied with 1 hole left.
Right.
And you're like, let's do this. and then the kind of the pissed off, but not pissed off person comes out and you start seeing shots just like with intention, and that's like, I see that part of you. It kind of gets to that narrowed focus. Mm-hmm. I'm out here, where are we? Where are we getting? So it's really fun. It's fun for me to watch that. And last 2 tournaments that we've won, which we almost won every one we played, I think, haven't we? Pretty close.
You're gonna hex us because we got another one coming up here in a couple months.
I have no guarantees on that one.
We're 3 for 3 in the last 3.
Well, this is a quick story. Steve Kimmel, who's the director of golf at our club, he was one of our best friends. I've known Steve forever. Steve walked up to me at the last time we played at Gaillardia, and not only did this to you and me, he did it to Dr. Gil Morgan, who's sitting right next to us. He was on our team as well. And he says, if you guys don't play well, I'm kicking you off the team. And I'm like, what? You just closed our course. We haven't even practiced. And you're going to kick us off the team. Aren't we your best players? And we barely stayed on the team.
Well, it's funny because Dr. Gil Morgan, who's won like 60 PGA events, and he's threatened to throw them off the team. Tells you how many quality players we have in our course.
Dr. Gil's like, well, I guess we don't rate very high around here.
But the classic story was the one that we played in the event. We played in the best ball at National. And we're playing against tour players in this best ball.
These are young guys. They're all tour players. We're just barely hanging in there.
We're going up there. We're playing against these guys that drive at 350 plus, and they're going to the tour event next week. They're going to go play in some buy.com event or whatever next week. And we're playing against them in a best ball club championship deal. And you get on 17. I'll never forget this. And it's that Pete Dye design. And it's 220 or 210 over the water, and it's got the face, the 10-foot face in the front. And it's got the bunker around the front of the green. It's a famous hole, 17 at Oak Tree National. And you hit that shot that sits up on the top of the lip of the bunker. Iron. hit a 5-iron, and it catches the top of the bunker.
Yeah.
So it stays in the top. So it's not in the bunker, it's in the top lip.
Yeah, and keep in mind that when I'm standing in the bunker,
The ball's
at nose height.
right. It's literally above your head.
Yeah.
Okay. And I get up there and I hit behind the green. So you have to hit the shot first.
Yeah.
Okay. and I'm sitting there waiting for you to hit, and the two other guys are playing against.
I don't know what to do.
It's the second to last hole of the event.
And we're tied.
We're tied.
Yeah.
And we're tied with that group we're playing with. And you walk in the bunker, and you haven't played in an event in like 6 months or longer.
Yeah.
And you walk in there, and these two guys are on the green waiting for us, and I'm behind the green, so I'm waiting for you. And I walk up there, and you sit over it, and you sit over, you get over it, and you look at me, and you go, I have no idea how to play this shot. you have no idea how to play it. So I walk in the bunker, and I walk you through it. You read that?
Yeah.
I said, choke down your club.
Yeah.
I said,
You gave me a lesson.
I said, your face is going to close.
Yeah.
I said, swing
Aim
it
right.
shoulder height and swing way right because it's going to go way left. And the two guys were playing through, they're like 22
They're
years
rolling.
old. They're rolling.
Yeah.
And you hit it about like 4 feet from the hole.
Yeah.
And then one guy started clapping. He goes, that's the greatest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, because I had no idea to hit it.
He had no idea.
I was like, it's been a while.
You sit there, you're like 4 feet is perfect. I gave that lesson in the bunker. It was so funny. It was like, I said there, walked you through the shot.
On that same tournament, number 9, I hit up by the green,
Yep.
and I'm in a sprinkler.
Right.
And I'm staring at it.
Yeah.
And you walk over and like, what's the matter? I go, I don't know how to take a drop.
You don't drop because you never dropped it at waist high or knee high. You had never physically dropped a ball at knee high.
I still only play competition. I didn't know how to drop a golf ball. And those guys were rolling again. They're like, oh my God.
That was very funny.
So funny.
Yeah, but that was pretty classic. But that's the same place that the story of Steve. They redid our golf course. Okay, and so we get out there and they just opened it up about a month ago, about 2 months ago now.
October, yeah.
Yeah, okay, they opened it 2 months ago, and it's now rated as the hardest course in the country, in the United States.
Yeah.
And so that guy comes in from Arkansas, who's a course rater. Did you hear the story?
Yeah.
And
about $500.
yeah, the guy comes in and he says he's like a 2 handicap, and he goes to Steve and they hadn't anybody on the course other than members, and he goes up to Steve and he's kind of cocky young guy, and he says, Steve says, well, it's the hardest course in the country now, or one of the hardest courses in the country, and the kid goes, yeah, and Steve goes, you're not going to break 80, and the guy goes, yeah, I'm a 2 handicap, I'm going to break 80, and Steve goes, here, I'll make you a bet. He goes, if you break 85. I will give you $200 in merchandise in the shop and buy you lunch. And he goes, if you don't break 85, you're buying my shop lunch. Everybody in the staff, my shop lunch.
Love
and he
it.
goes, you got it. So he takes off. He comes in after 9. He goes, order lunch. He goes, I'm done.
Yeah.
He goes, I shot 45 in the front and played great. And the backside's 5 shots harder.
So just to kind of explain this golf course, and by the way, I've only been on the course one time since the full course.
Right.
Like I don't think I've played the front 9 yet. I just played the back 9. Right. I can't hold the 17th green.
It's impossible.
Like
It's
I hit
physically impossible.
So this hole, and it was playing 196. No, it was playing 202 to the back right flag. It's probably a 190 carry.
Right.
It's a little downwind.
Right.
Hit a 5-iron, and I hit it as good as I could hit it. Now, granted, I'm landing it way short of the hole.
Right.
Ball lands on the green. I can't really see because it's 200 yards. I mean, I was like, I hit a good shot,
Right.
and I expected to be middle back of the green with a 20-footer.
Right.
I go back there and I'm on 18T almost, and there's a member on the 18th tee, and I said to him, I was like, did I hit the wrong? I go, what the hell is this? And he goes, no, Todd. He goes, listen, you got to hit it in the bunker and just try to get up and down.
Yeah, you keep it down.
He goes, there's no way to hit this green.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Well, I was out there the other day. I played it a lot now, and played with a lot of good guys and good friends out there. And Kevin Tway, Bob Tway's son. Kevin Tway's a tour player, and he's out there. We're playing for 220. So I rip a 4 hybrid. It's a 4 hybrid for me. I had this high flush cut in there, lands on the front edge of the green. Gone. He hits a 7-iron from the same spot. Hits right on my ball. Gone.
Same spot.
And he looks over there. He goes, we're done. He goes, he can't play this golf course.
Yeah.
He's hitting 7-iron.
Yeah.
He can't hold the green.
Yeah. So the play is in the bunker. It's par 4.
Yeah.
But I think it'll soften up. I think the greens will soften up.
It will. I mean, they're running between a 14 and 15 now. So you tell me it's got to do something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
It is
it's
crazy.
so much fun. And I guess the way to describe this golf course is, look, you got through. If I went out there right now and shot 80 with you, I wouldn't feel bad about it. I'd be like, yeah, pretty good, not bad.
Well, I played at Mystic Creek in Arkansas in a tour championship last year. Okay. And it's where they take all the players, and you have a point system, and they take the top 10 from each, like juniors, seniors, all the different levels. The junior, under 50, over 50, the super seniors, the whole jazz, assistants, and we go out there and play. And there's 40 of us that go out there, and they crown a overall section champion. They go to Mystic Creek, and on the 7th hole of the first round, I 5-putted and putted every putt great. The greens were that hard. I mean, it was like I was 4 feet above the hole. I hit the putt, and I'm got a 10-footer coming uphill. I hit, or at least 10 feet, maybe 15 feet. I hit it good, power lift, it came back to me.
Oh, God.
I hit it 2 feet beyond the hole, and I was legging it,
Oh, yeah,
not
scary.
to let it go back 10 feet down, okay? I 5-putt at the green. And the two guys that are with me, which are really good players, going, you didn't hit a bad putt.
Yeah.
And you just 5-putted. The greens we're playing now are harder.
Yeah.
And Nashville, they're harder. I ended up 5-putting a green and won the tournament. And it was the greatest round of golf because I shot even the next day, and it felt like I shot 60.
Yeah.
It was the greatest round of golf I played in 10 years. On the hardest golf course, and the course we play now is harder.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So it's interesting because, I mean, one of the things that I would like to figure out, and this is something we talk about a lot, but what can motivate? I mean, is it just love of the game? I mean, is it that kind of stuff? Is it the fact that we go out there and there's a chance you might 5-putt today, you know, or there's a chance that you might make an ace. It's almost like a gambler, right? A gambler's like, hey, I might hit the big hand or I might lose my butt today. But golf has a quality like that to it. I mean, to me, when I go play golf now, I love to hit pure golf shots on the course. I love to hit good wedge shots and chip shots and stuff like that. But it's that's what keeps me kind of coming back for it. The course we play is a strategy course.
Oh, yeah.
So you just hit a line. Like to me, it's not like, let's see if I can do this differently today. You don't do that in this course. What you do on that course is like, your lines to the right, hit it there. Your lines to the right side, hit it there. Right. Hit it to the front of the green, make your 5 and go on. Right. And when you do that, you kind of feel good about it because you're like, oh, I executed well today. Right. It wasn't like I went and gambled today. Because if you do that and you hit one bad shot, you might as well just chalk your whole round in.
Yep. To me, it's the challenge because, people get different challenges different ways. Number one, golf is independent, individual. It's you and you only. So when you're walking out there, you want to get good, you got to put in the time. You don't put in the time, it's your fault. Nobody else. Because think about it. You can go play in a baseball team and you can be batting 400
and still win the game,
and lose the game. Lose the game because your shortstop had 3 errors.
Yeah.
You can go out there and you can pitch a no hitter and lose by 1 run. You know what I'm saying? Because what just happened? You know what I'm saying? Because your team couldn't hit. You see it 1,000 times. Golf is such a loner, independent, one-on-one sport. It's crazy.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Because, and this is, let me tell you how Tim and I do business. This will be interesting. Tim, I'm making breakfast this morning. Tim walks up and says, hey, did you read my email from last night? And I'm like, no. He's like, why the hell not? I have time. He goes, you need to read the damn email. Yeah. He goes, there's some important stuff in there. I said, okay, I'll get to it. Yeah. Fine, I got to go. That's our business meeting this morning.
That's it.
Before we went out and shot 94 videos.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, accountability. Because one of the things I wanted to yell at you as you're walking out the door was, how the hell do we keep people accountable? Tim, you can give them and I think you do. You give people the absolute best. I've never seen better information on short game chipping and putting than you do in 1 hour in a golf school. You've given them the most quality information of any place on earth. Why don't people do it? I know that when I teach the golf swing, what I'm giving them is my best, 100% best information I can give them, but they don't stay accountable to it.
Right.
But the guys who do really get it, what is it going to take to keep people accountable?
Here's the deal. It's interesting for us because I stay accountable because I have something coming up in the future that I'm going to be accountable to. Like I'll have an event next week or one next month. And I know if I don't put in the time or try to get better, this event next week won't be better than the one last week. In fact, it'll probably be worse. So I'm keeping myself accountable on that. When you have somebody out there that doesn't play in events or doesn't play in tournaments or doesn't play in those, and I'm not talking about national events. No. I'm talking about,
So is goal setting?
I think it's goal setting, number one. But people have a hard time setting goals because most people in golf don't realize how slow improvement is and how it doesn't just happen like one shot at a time. Golf. You all of a sudden you level out for 3 or 4 months and you're shooting the same thing or a little worse. And all of a sudden you drop 4 shots. It's like there's not like a very slow growth going out. I mean, I worked with a guy today, a really good golfer. Gave a 2-hour lesson.
Yeah, I watched the swing. Look good.
It's really good. He hits it hard, hits it great, and really, it's really good. And I'm talking to him at the end, and I'm telling you right now, you watch his ball striking. You just said he's scratch. You'd probably say he's one handicap. And I'm serious. In fact, he was hitting shots. I was like, I'd take that. He hits it further than me off the tee. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I'm literally I got the launch monitor out there, and he's cranking at 290, 300, 310. Okay, and he's hitting it hard. Yeah, so he has a few little issues in the swing, but it's good. And so I walk over, and we worked for an hour, and then he goes, I want to go putt and chip with you, because we hit a little longer, because I want to get over there. So we get over there. And as I'm driving around the car over to the green, I go, what's your handicap? And I'm waiting for 2 or 3. He goes, I'm an 8. He goes, I just got below a 10, I'm an 8. He goes, I'm struggling to keep that 8. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm literally thinking, you got a scratch freaking long game. In fact, you got a below scratch long game. And so I'm watching him chip now, and I say, and so
you watch him chip, you go, you're an 8.
No, and I'm watching him chip, and I said, I have a little short chip with the landing zone. I give him 10 balls, he hit the landing zone once.
Yeah.
And now, good hands, good touch. He landed one time in the landing zone, and I'm looking at this thing. I'm going, you're a 20 handicap in the short game.
But let me explain something. So, for some of the people listening out there, today Tim asked me. He goes, "Hey, I want you to do a master class today or a workshop on." Hitting your mid shots like hybrids and approach shots, maybe even 3 woods, 5 woods. And I said, you know what the importance of hitting a 5 wood and a 3 wood is in the green? Have a good wedge game.
100%.
Because people go, I want to hit a better shot into the green. No, you don't. You want to hit a better strategized shot so you get up and down.
Right.
Because
don't put it in a position.
Tim, when's the last time you actually hit a green with a 3 wood?
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
I can't either.
In fact, the other day I played a tournament. I hit just short of the green. I was so happy.
Yeah. Tim, when's the last time you hit a green with a hybrid?
Well, at National, a couple. But
barely.
Because you know why? Because I'm hitting 12 hybrids around.
Yeah. Well, one's going to find the green. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is that they're like, how do I get this closer to the hole? And I'm like, no, you need to have a great wedge game, so it doesn't matter how close you are to the hole. Because first of all, you're not going to hit it into a birdie putt range. So the worst thing that's going to happen, you're going to hit in the hazard.
Right.
So remember the statistic years ago? It was if I put a 2-iron in your hand. Back then they had a lot of 2-irons. Now it's a hybrid. Right. If I put a hybrid in your hand and I have you hit a shot, you will outscore yourself with a 6-iron and a wedge if you know how to hit a wedge.
Every time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Every time.
Because you end up hitting that hybrid into junk,
right,
where you can't get it up and down,
or put it underneath the lip of the bunker,
and you'll always hit it into the fairway and wedge it on the green. You always have a putt at par.
Yep.
So people don't realize that. I'm like, Tim, you want me to strategize people's mid shots when they need to have a wedge game?
Right.
Because if they had a wedge game, they wouldn't need to have a great mid shot.
Because here's the deal: the gentleman I worked with is a great guy, and really good athlete, and I mean he's a good golfer. I'm sitting there thinking in my mind, the thing he needs to do right now is tee it up in an event, just any little one, and mark down in the card the stats in that event.
Yeah.
And he would look at it in a second and realize,
and see his weaknesses.
Yep. And he'd go chipping and putting, chipping and putting, chipping and putting. That's what he'd say.
So, but we tend to do this though. We tend to hit a bad shot and go, God, I need to improve my ball striking. Right. When just a wedge would help, just having a wedge game would help. And Tim, if you go play your absolute best ball striking round, how many greens regulation do you hit?
12 or 13.
12, 13. That's at the best. Me too.
Best.
Me too. Even when I'm hitting it good.
Right. Well, here's the deal. When you're hitting it the best, you'll hit less because you're tacking pins that are tucked.
True.
And so all of a sudden you're 5 feet from the hole and you're off the green.
Well, the good news when you're hitting is your proximity goes down 100%. And you make more putts. Yep. But you're still going to miss 5 or 6 greens around when you're hitting it great.
100%.
Yeah, and it matters what happens because look, you make 5 birdies around, which would be great because you just hit 12 greens and you make 5 bogeys and you shot even par.
Exactly.
Sounds like my story on the tour.
That's what I did. That's what I did on Tuesday. That's exactly what I did on Tuesday.
Exactly, and you're like, I hit it pretty good. Just converted nothing. Yep. It's so true. It's so true. I mean, to me, if I had a crystal ball and I could make a wish for people that are playing the game, the guys that we teach, so we built a company for. That crystal ball would say that people, number one, would stay motivated and stay motivated. And then number 2, could find that motivation like you have by putting carrots out there. I'd have to do the exact same thing. Matter of fact, you're right. I'm already thinking about, in March, we're going to play to Vegas.
We have an event at the end of March, which is like way off.
I know.
I probably have 4 events before then or more.
I know.
You have one, and the other day in the range, you said, I can't wait to this event because you started practicing a little bit.
I know. So it gets me practicing.
Yeah.
Well, in honesty, and you can laugh at this all you want, I can't wait to start putting. I have not putted much.
Really? Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah, I'll pull it off though. But yeah, so I wish people would stay. I hope, I pray that people stay motivated to keep playing the game, and find that thing that keeps them playing, whether it's just joy or playing golf shots. But I do think there needs to be that little, I want to get better carrot out there. Mm-hmm. I want to prove to myself something. And I also, my hope for people is that they can look at golf as every round is a learning experience. Like I never stop learning. I never get it. I'm always chasing it. I always find little things that make me better. you and I hang out in the range like we did today, and we tweak little stuff and we have fun with stuff. That's the joy of it for me, you know?
I got a question for you. What age are you going to be when you try to start shooting your age?
Tomorrow?
Have you thought about that yet?
Oh God. I guess I got to start thinking about that. I was going to wait like 20 years.
Yeah.
64.
Okay.
64. I'm going to play from the ladies' tees. Does it matter what tees I play from?
Yeah.
It does.
Because we get our students all the time. That's a huge carrot for them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to do it now. I want to get over with.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good round.
yeah, that'd be a great round. I'm trying to do it now because I'm trying to get over with.
So this is a true story. I was thinking today, I was driving around and we had a really funny comment from somebody on the YouTube channel, and they made a really nasty comment about us, which really makes you laugh all the time. And I was like, I would play that guy. Like the guy makes some nasty comment about not what we teach, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm like, if that guy, I would mortgage my house, my cars. I'd mortgage your house and your car and play him for any dollar he wants to play for. But they'll talk. You know?
You remember what happened, but 18 years ago, 17 was forever ago now. We just got into this. Some of the guys may remember out there, but you remember what happened to that when the guy got in that social media deal, that comment, and he started just bashing us.
Yeah.
Bashing. I was playing hard then. I mean, I was playing like upper level. It wasn't just PGA events. I was still playing tour events. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he was bashing what we're doing, what we're teaching. And finally, I just got fed up with it. You remember what happened there? And I said, okay, here's the deal. I said, you name the course. I will meet you there. I'm putting up $10,000. You're putting up $10,000. We're playing, and we're playing right now. And you can name the time and the place, and I will be there.
And he said, no, I was just kidding.
No. And he goes, we'll do it. And I said, I'm serious. And I said, and he came back and he goes, well, I don't have $10,000. And I said, guess what? You name the price, I'll be there. We never heard from him again.
Yeah.
He just disappeared.
Yeah.
And the guy and our guys, I all of a sudden became this like folk hero because it was like, I just said, I got tired of hearing it. I just said, and I told him, I will do it at your course. We'll do it on your time, and we're going to go.
This particular guy today, I'd even up the ante by saying, I won't practice for 90 days.
Yeah, I know.
I won't touch a club. I'll still
crush him. I know.
I'll play with somebody else's equipment. I'll just whatever you want to do. It has to be right-handed equipment though. Oh yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. One of the things I love about what we do though, I remember a conversation we had when we started this company, and I don't know if you remember this conversation or not. We sat around one time, and the Mo thing was big for us, right? And so we knew that we had something with Mo, and the relationship that I had with Mo, we had something there, and not only was his swing absolutely 100% the easiest way to do it, but we were in with Mo. And you turned to me one day and you said, God, we got to simplify the game for people.
Yeah.
It's just too damn hard. Because if you pick up the magazines and you watch the Golf Channel, you probably don't watch YouTube as much as I do because I'm really into the YouTube thing. But I watch other instructors and you put it on. I sit there and I'm like, no, please don't teach that.
I watch that. It is totally fascinating to me, some of the stuff that they say out there. And I'm like, do they ever watch a golf swing?
Yeah.
Or do they ever watch something? I mean,
so Tim and I shot a video today, and you said something today that I've never heard you say, which I loved. And one of the beautiful things that we have that we're going to have until we're shooting our age is we have a model, and so I always tout that as like, guys, match the model. I'll talk. Maybe I'll mention what this guy said on this thing the other day, but I match the model. And you said when we were talking about club fitting today, you said. Say what you said again about fitting when you go and you watch a guy try to get fit for clubs in person and they need a lesson.
No, it's the craziest thing in the world because here's how stupid and crazy golf is.
I love this.
Okay, every time in a normal fit, not one of our fits, but this is in a conventional fit.
Yeah, normal fitting. Like
it's a known fact. So you'll sit there in a PGA conference. This happens every single time. Whatever. They'll go up to a guy and say, "Are you a professional fitter?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm a professional fitter. I've done it for 20 years." I said, "Okay, so describe how you fit." And they'll say, "Well, I work for like 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes getting this guy fit, and I'll get light tape, and I'll do the whole jazz, and I'll do all the fitting." And then invariably, it turns into a lesson because the guy never or the gal doesn't hit it well. So 30 minutes into the fit, they have to start giving them a lesson.
Well, let me stop right there. Yeah. Tim, the first time I went to Cali with you, Jim Flick was there.
Yeah.
And he was over there waiting on the sidelines.
Right.
Because when the guys couldn't get him to hit a good shot, straight, they throw him over to Flick and say, please get this guy to make contact with the ball so we can fit him to a set of clubs.
So So you got this professional who's fitting this person, who's fitting him, and then gives him a lesson. Well, he's changing the swing in a lesson, so he's working him right out of the fitting. So it's like
It's insane.
It's insane. It's total insanity.
I almost started rolling today.
So
when you
you're
said
being
that.
fit, and then you get a lesson, and you've worked your way out of the fitting, so you got to get fit again. And
I
then
lost it today.
It's just like it's the craziest damn thing. So if you look at this thing, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So
It's
we
the
sit
blind
there.
leading the blind.
No, so we sit there, and we do this a static fit to match the model, and go, hey, the better you swing it, the better your clubs will work for you.
It's common sense. Like, okay, I'm going to fit you clubs that you should be able to hit based on the model.
Right.
Now work your way into the clubs.
Exactly.
Makes so much sense.
It doesn't make it's just crazy, and that's so. And you wonder why people don't get better. Golfers don't get better. It's crazy. Think about it. If you had a piece of equipment right now that as you're getting better, the equipment doesn't fit you, it won't allow you to get better.
No.
It won't allow you to get
fascinating.
better. So you want to know why golfers don't get better? Because the more people get fit, the louder
The worse they get.
the worse they get. They can't help but get worse. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
They can't help
it's so
it
true.
worse.
It's so true. And they're standing way too close to the ball.
Yeah, that's how they get fit. Way too upright, way too short.
It's like when I watch instruction, I was watching this guy who I have no idea who it was, but his comment was, you hang your arm straight down and you put your fist next to your leg, and that's how far your hand should be from your body. And I'm like, who says?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, what science backs that up?
Yeah, exactly.
And then he swings and he goes to impact and he's a foot higher than where he started.
Right.
And I was like, what are these guys doing?
It's crazy.
And it's not helping. It's not helping simplify the game,
Right.
But it was fun. It was really fun watching on YouTube. We were shooting that video today, and you brought that up, and I almost lost it on YouTube because you're like, it's so true.
It's this vicious world.
It's so true. It's so true.
You're just going to keep changing. So I guess every time you get fit, you get less, and you have to get refit and get refit and less and refit. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It's funny and I would never say anything bad about the pros that I'm around in the shop pros. They dread going to the tee to teach golf.
Oh yeah,
because they work in that shop for all day long,
right.
And then they want to go make an extra buck. They got to go drag their butts out in the tee. And they're like, I just want to go home.
I know.
And everyone says the same thing.
Yep.
I feel bad for them. Because I have a passion for teaching. I'm out there having a great time because it's what I love to do.
And the thing is because of this, because everybody that we deal with, we believe they're going to be lifelong customers, friends, whatever you want to call
them. Not fixing anybody.
We are literally going to sit there and work through the good and bad with them and work through the model, and we're going to work with them again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
When you walk out in that first tee, and if it's your private country club, that guy's looking at you saying, how fast can you quick fix me? How fast can you band me? By the way,
pressure.
I'm going to go play with my buddy tomorrow in Vegas, and I need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And you're like going, what? And they're looking for this quick fix that's going to fall off overnight.
I'd say one of the members approached me about lessons like 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to teach out there, but now I'm teaching like 4 or 5 guys out there. And he says to me, well, one of his buddies drives by in a cart and goes, you'll never fix him,
Right.
And he goes, Todd, let me just clear something up before you start teaching me. He goes, I will never practice. And I said, Kevin, listen. I said, let me just show you what I teach. I'm not going to teach you today. Let me just show you. And if you want to dig into this, you make the decision. Right. I said, I'm not going to try to sell you on it, but let me just show you the common sense of what I teach. Right. And I showed him, and he goes, this is great. He goes, just let's get started. I said, okay. So I taught him for like an hour.
Right.
This is the very first lesson. And then I said, and he goes, okay, now I'm going to go play today with my buddies. What do I do? And I go, forget every freaking thing I just told you. I said, just throw it out the trash. Don't even go play.
Right.
But anyway, so I said, well, if you're not going to practice, then I want to give you a lesson every day.
Right.
And so, Tim, I worked with him every other day because I couldn't see him every day. He's a busy guy. Dude, he got really good because I was keeping him accountable.
Right.
I wouldn't let him screw up, right? If he's not going to practice, then I need to be there. Right. Otherwise, I said, I'm not working with you. I said, if you're not, first of all, you're not going to practice and I can't be here, then let's forget about it. I'm willing to just say, screw this. It's not worth my time, not worth your time, Plus, we have a reputation. I mean, I got a reputation. I can't have guys at the club going, you really screwed him up, which they do anyway. but no, he's been really good. He's really been fun to work with. And I love doing that. I love watching guys work at it, even if they need me there every minute and we hang out at the club. But then you got guys that really, really work at it. I mean, they really, really put the time in, and we see so much incredible stuff happening with those guys. I'm just really trying to find out how we motivate people. I'm really trying to just get to that point where I'm good at motivating people, because I'm really not. I mean, you either have the carrot out there like you do,
Right.
you're self-motivated. The guys that I see have the most success have this internal drive that they run towards, and I'm not good at giving that to people, and maybe it's not my job, but
I think a lot of it has to do, and it's probably something I need to do more of. I think it's really kind of true here. You've got to play with better players. I think it's a big one, because the gentleman playing with that I gave a lesson to today, he's talking about the LPGA player he plays with all the time. He was top 10 in the PGA from the Sweden tour, and she's how good she is, and she's an amazing golfer. Well, he's going out there playing golf with her and watching her hit these shots, and he was doing what? He's self-motivated, going, I want to be able to keep up with that. I want to keep up with that. And this is an LPGA player he's playing with. But it's funny because we had these conversations. We have a South Central Section PGA Teaching Summit every year. And I don't go that often because I'm usually too busy, and they have it, through the winter. I'm down here, teaching or whatever it is. And 5 or 6 years ago, I went and I was a presenter. And actually, the first one I went to 15 years ago, I was a presenter with Hank Haney. Okay, we came in there, and Hank and he presented in the morning, I presented in the afternoon. I don't even remember much about it, but it was a good conversation. And they asked me back again and again and again. And like 6 or 7 years ago, I went. Okay. And I actually brought up your deal in that thing, because I kind of sit there. It's an all-day event. And I kind of sit in the back of the room, and I let everybody do their deal, and they all get up and talk about the lessons they give, and they talk about the good and the bad lessons and what they should do and do that, how much they charge for lessons, all this stuff. Well, one of the guys in the front of the room comes and goes, "Okay, Tim," he goes, "most of these people in here, a lot of them don't know you because they're younger guys now." He goes, "Would you answer some questions for me?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go, here we go." And he goes, and it was in the afternoon. We'd gone through the whole morning session. I heard all these guys talking about all this stuff. And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "Tim," he goes, "give me your philosophy of teaching." And I said, "Philosophy number 1, you got to get off your feet. Every one of you is going to kill each other because you guys think you can go out and give 8 or 10 lessons a day, doing it for $50 to $75 an hour." I said, "You're not even going to make enough money to get your gas to go home." Okay, I said, "You got to have training dates. You got to have secondary incomes, tertiary incomes." I said, "You got to have ways that you can make money not being on that tee." Number 2, the guy looks at me and goes, "How much do you charge for a lesson?" And I gave him your line. I said, "I charge $2,000 for the first lesson. The next 9 are free." Yeah. And everybody in the room went, "What the hell?" And they look at me. And now my buddies are sitting right next to me are like, oh God. Because it's like they know where this is going. And I said, "You guys don't get it in here." I said, "Let me tell you what's happened to all you." I said, "Every one of you is a one-trick pony. And these are good people. And people come into you for your lesson, you charge $50 an hour. And they come and take one lesson. And you work on one thing for 1 hour. Maybe it's their grip, maybe it's their setup, whatever it is. And they leave, and they walk away, and they go to the next guy. And then they go to the next guy, they say, "That guy was no good. He didn't even go over more than just the grip." You know why? Because they didn't give you any time. When I do it, I get a minimum of 10 lessons. So I've got this guy for 10 lessons.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I can get something accomplished.
Yeah.
And I said, and if that guy won't do that with me, I'm not going to give lessons. I said, so all of a sudden, I've got somebody I can accomplish something with. And then I said, and guess what? We don't even do that. I said, my brother and I don't even give hardly any of those lessons anymore. You know what we do? We do 3-day schools. We do 5-day schools. We get to see people for hours upon hours upon hours. Yeah. Okay. And now all of a sudden, we can get stuff accomplished.
Well, so one of the really good points here for me, and this is what people need to hear. One of the things that you're good at is just telling people what they need to hear.
Yeah.
I soften it sometimes. But I remember working with a student one time, and I said, "Look, I can't make you better. Like I can't do that. I can't swing the club for you.
Right.
Now I can tell you what I want you to do, and I can hold you accountable to that stuff. But you got to want it. And the only way I can get people to want it is to motivate them. The only way I've been able to motivate people was to say, "Hey, look, it's going to cost you because I want you to feel like you're invested in this thing."
Right.
And when people get invested, they make it pay off for them.
Right.
So it's not that we should be charging $1 zillion because I want to teach a lot of people. But if it's the only thing that holds you accountable, then Tim, here's what I'll say, because I kind of mentioned this in a podcast recently with Thomas. I was talking to Thomas. Does anybody hire more coaches than me?
No, not even remotely.
Matter of fact, if I can't figure something out, I hire a coach. And it doesn't matter what the cost, because number one, he can speed up the process for me. Number two, he can tell me the stuff that I'll never know because he has 20 years experience. I don't have 20 years to put experience in there. it's the stuff you just talked about here in this podcast. That's the stuff they hire us for and hire coaches for. And I hire the same thing. I just got back from Miami, 4-day coaching session, 2 different programs. Right. Chad just went to Vegas for another 2-day coaching session. Guess where he's coming back on Monday to coach me on what he learned. Right. So I am constantly in the learning process. And I think you got to do whatever it takes. I think you got to put, if it's money on the table, you got to put money on the table. If it's time, you got to put, it's time and money. There's only 2 things you can pay with, time and money, right? There's no other currency, time and money. Right. And so, unless you want to give a firstborn, which people don't, but it's time and money. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to give up some currency of the 2. Yep. And what I always say is, okay, so what's motivating you? Is it the time or is it the money that you're going to put into this? And, you want to play well. Maybe the other motivator, which maybe should be discussed, is just pride. Just feeling good about yourself, right? And that's what pride is feeling good about yourself. You and I want to go play. We want to be able to go to the club and go, won the 4th one.
I don't, it's interesting. Yeah, it's 100% pride. I'm in that too. I mean, I'm into that. You want to pump up the chest and show the feathers off. But to me, it's the accomplishment, because it's saying I actually figure this out and accomplished it. And I need to chunk it out, because I'm not saying I accomplished something throughout the whole year. I'm saying, man, I played really well in that event, or I won that event, or I finished high in that event. I accomplished something.
I'll tell you funny. I had the same conversation about accomplishment, and I was in that down in Miami. We were in a course. It was a sales class, and the guy behind me was a construction guy. He built decks, and last year I built a 1,000 square foot deck. I did it myself, by the way. And so I had to talk.
We call it the Taj deck.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about this deck, though. So I built it myself, and I'm very proud of this deck, because it took me 6 months.
It was longer than that.
Yeah.
Steve Kimmel and I, every day I come to the course, we're starting building the deck.
And I think it's $1 zillion too, but I don't know what it was.
And one day you walked in there, we had that event, and your hands were so chewed up. Oh. It was like you couldn't hold a golf club. So chewed up.
I had nail holes in my leg. I fell through the deck like 10 times.
Yeah, and Kimmel's like, it's the Taj deck. It's the Taj deck. Yeah. It wasn't the Todd deck. It's the Taj deck. It didn't
kill me though. But here's what's interesting. This guy behind me was a professional deck builder, and I go, so what's so great about your company? He goes, well, we're bringing in engineers, and we design with engineers, and we sculpturally thing, and we make sure it's to standards. I'm like, uh-oh. Because I'm like,
I'm still convinced you get a real hard rain, that creek might take off that edge of it.
I'm like, please don't look under my deck. Looks good on top. I was like, oh my God, engineers. I was like, learn something every day. Oh man.
But it's the accomplishment. And the only way that I can get an accomplishment by that is to put some heat on it. Because I can, I played Oak Tree National.
Well, you test it.
Right. I played Oak Tree National. I've shot 7 under, 6 under. And do I feel good when I walk off? Yeah, I feel really good. But you go play in an event, put some heat on that. Yeah. That turns into an even par.
Test it. You like to test it.
Yeah. Big time.
Well, so I think we should do another podcast, because there's a lot of subjects here, but so let's leave the audience with an idea. And the idea to me would be, go sit down and have a deep meditation, if you need to, on what the motivation is. Like, what's your motivating factor? Number 2, how committed are you to that motivation? Number 3, and for like me, what I have to go sit down is go, what can I put out there in the future for me that makes me want to get up tomorrow and get better?
Right.
Because if I do that, it's fun. It's fun, because then I'm like, I'll grab you and go, hey, watch me at some drivers. Meet me at the range.
The funnest, it's interesting. I will play in an event, and I try to, it's funny, but after the event's over, the thing I look forward to the most is pulling up my notebook and writing the 5 things down that I need to work on.
Growth.
From that event.
Growth. That's why I play.
And sometimes, and it really makes me mad, because it's the same damn thing I wrote the last time, and the time before that, and the time before that. It's like it frustrates. Like I'm pissed because it's the same thing I wrote 2 weeks ago or a month ago. But I'm literally writing down writing down the 5 things, and I put them in order of importance. Like, maybe by the next event I'm going to accomplish 1 or 2 of these, because that's all I got. Yeah. But I'm fixing stuff. Because I can't figure that out if I'm not out there putting some heat on it.
Yeah, if you don't test it.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're bad at.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. It's funny, because I was thinking about that the other day. I was just kind of practicing and messing around, and I was like, I wish. Here's the shots that bother me the most when I play. Bad shots don't bother me. Right. Like, we all hit bad shots. We laugh at each other on bad shots half the time. We just goofing around like, what the hell happened? But what bothers me the most is and I'm convinced that I hit my best shots before I hit them. Like I can feel the shot.
Yep.
And you're the same way. Right. So I step up and I know I'm gonna hit it good.
Right.
Like especially like driving down the fairway. So I just know I'm gonna rip it down the fairway.
Right.
My most disappointing shots in the course is when I have that feeling of no, I'm gonna hit it good, and then I hit it bad. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the hell? I had that feeling,
right.
you know. And so those are the only ones that bother me. The whole round, I can hit a bad shot and go, I just felt bad before I hit it. You know, it's like, why is this going left? But it's when I'm like, because I get in that groove, and then all of a sudden I don't hit a good one. But so to me, it's just like I always try to stay in a good feeling when I'm playing, and to me, you know, just being in a good rhythm. You know, that's just staying in a good rhythm. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you don't get there unless you're out there practicing, unless you're in there in the game, right?
Well, it's funny how it comes back. Because like the other day, I haven't played an event in 3 or 4 months, and I haven't played any really big events in a while, okay? And I go play in the little 3-round deal down there, and you know, it's against national players. And I go out to the first round, and I play okay. I mean, I shot a couple over the first round, played okay. It's a good hard course, and I was actually, I think I bogeyed the last 2 holes, or I've been top 10, okay? And I come in, and I bogeyed the last 2 holes, so I hit a couple dumb shots, and I shouldn't have played them in the holes. That's just not thinking right. Next day, I go out there, it's colder than cold, okay? And I get out there, and I played okay. I shot a few over the second day. And I'm like top 40 or top 50, whatever it is. You know, I think 300 people or 250 people in the event. And I mean, honestly, I didn't really pay much attention because it was just more of a warm-up event for what I got coming up. Okay. I get in the last round, and I get on the second or the third hole of the last round. I birdie the first hole, par the second hole, good up and down. And on the third hole, I pulled a drive left of the fairway, and it got kicked left into hazard. Okay. And I get up there, and so it wasn't a good drive. It wasn't a good drive, but it kicks the hazard. I take a drop, and I have to drop way back because the way it kicked into the hazard. And I hit up short of the green, chip it up, 2-putt, make a 7, make a triple. Okay, make a triple on the hole. Okay. And so I'm walking off the green 2 over now. And so I'm sitting there, and it's okay. So now I play about the next 5 or 6 holes, even par. I'm not upset about it, but I'm not happy about it. Okay. Now I start coming in, and so about number 8 or 9, I start hitting a couple shots, make a putt or 2, and now I birdie 13 or birdie 12.
Now you're pissed about the triple.
Now I birdie 14. Now I birdie 16. Now I birdie 17. And on 17 was a 220-yard uphill par 3 on the Wanamaker. I had a 4 hybrid 2 feet. Yeah. Now I birdie 17. And so all of a sudden, that recall, that rhythm is coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's that recall. And I'm sitting there going, okay, it took me 50 holes or like 45 holes to get that recall coming back. Because up to that point, I couldn't tell you if that ball's going to go right, going to go left. I mean, it was just like, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, that recall hits.
I remember one time I was playing the mini tour stuff, and I'd get on some bigger stuff once in a while, and somehow Brian Eberstein got me some sponsorship exemptions into 3 events in Texas. And I remember, no, he got me 1 exemption. Right. And the tournament called me and goes, hey, we got the tour coming in. There's like 8 events down here. We'll let you in 1. I'm like, no. I go, you got to get me in 3 or more,
right,
or I'm not going to play.
Right.
Because the first one is knock the rust off.
Right.
The second one is you got a little rust, but you're starting to get a rhythm back. The third one, you might be able to get some feeling back.
Yep.
And then the fourth one, I probably had a pretty good chance.
100%.
But then I would take a month off, and then I'm back to week 1 again.
Start 1, yep.
And I hated that about it. When you're getting that rhythm in the zone, you probably now you wanted to go play right after that.
I couldn't get out there fast enough.
Yeah. It's so I think people have to understand that again. I'll just say this: if you guys have tournaments coming up this year, and let's say they're in July, you can't wait till July to start playing and getting into the rhythm of playing in that competitive mode or the playing mode. You got to be in June saying, okay, forget practice right now. I'm not going to grind on my practice. I'm going to work a little bit on my short game, my putting, but I'm going to go on the course as much as I can. Play money games with your buddies.
Yep.
Play if there's tournaments playing it 1 day or 2 days, doesn't matter. Play for something. Put some pressure on yourself.
Yep.
And do that for 2 or 3 weeks before your event, and you might have a chance to get in that rhythm.
Right.
Yeah, no
That's
question
what you have to do. You have to do that. Go out there by yourself. It's good to practice, but it doesn't give you that next level up. Yeah. You've got to be playing. You've got to be doing that.
Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you so much. We're going to do this many times in the future. Plus, you got a podcast coming up. Hopefully, you'll invite me onto your show. Maybe not. But no, always great to hang out with you. It was really fun today on the range. We're getting back together. The school season's kicking off. I think we're gonna have a great year. This feels like we're gonna rock this year.
This year, I'm looking more forward to this year than I have in a long time.
Me too.
I mean, we fought in COVID. I mean, everybody did. People it was a traveling issue and so on. But I think right now with our staff, I literally think we have the best team and the best staff we've had in 10 years.
I do too. I think the company is in a really great spot.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. It's been tough. The last 2 years, it's been weird. It's been a very weird time
because of the just things have changed just with everything. I mean, but it was funny because James today was in the car. We were coming back from the golf course today, and or we're going to dinner, whatever we're doing. And he comes to me and he looks at me and he goes, so what is your focus? What's your goals for the next few months? Because I asked James, I said, I wanted to really appreciate you cleaning everything up here and getting ready because school starts next week, and these guys have been busting their tails getting this stuff ready to go. And and he looked at me and I know he's thinking about, like, he wanted to hear me say something like, I want to be able to, increase this, percentage or our company to grow here. And I looked at him, I said, I want to protect the team.
Yeah.
So I want to protect this team.
Yeah.
I said, because right now this team is as good as it's been. I mean, our instructors are amazing.
Yeah.
And these guys are just good guys. They're fun to be around.
Yeah.
They are fun to be around.
Yeah.
I mean, we're out there sweating and tearing a trailer apart, cleaning, and we're having a blast.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are hilarious. I mean, they're just some fun to be around.
It is. It's because of the team.
Oh, yeah.
It's the big deal.
Yeah.
And we've had some rough goes with the team in the last couple of years. COVID has been weird for us. Right. People have been weird.
Yeah.
A lot of us, maybe we've been weird, but it's been all the above, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it feels good. The golf course looked great. Eagle Creek looked fantastic today. I was so happy to be out there. It just felt good. Feeling good. So, again, thanks for joining me. Love having you always. I can't wait to play some golf this year, and I can't wait to have a great year, and we'll be doing another podcast together.
Well, thanks for having me on this one, and we will do it again real soon.